Welcome to The Explainer. You know, some stories sound like they're pulled straight out of a novel, and today's is definitely one of them. We're talking about the incredible transformation of a man named Alphonse de Ratisbonne.
So get this, you've got two completely opposite people here. On one side, Alphonse the skeptic, a rich Jewish banker from a big-name family, super proud of his heritage and on a personal mission to disprove Christianity. Then, on the other side, you have Alphonse the believer, a devout Catholic priest, the founder of a religious order who created a lasting legacy in Jerusalem. The wild part? They're the exact same man.
Yeah, so the million-dollar question is, what on earth happened in between? How do you get from point A to point B? To figure that out, we've got to go back to 19th century France and meet this man who was, for all intents and purposes, defined by his doubt.
All right, so let's set the stage. Who exactly was Alphonse de Ratisbonne before his life got turned completely upside down?
So imagine this guy. He's born into a really well-respected Jewish family in Strasbourg. We're talking wealth, finance, tradition, the whole 9 yards. His identity was totally wrapped up in his family's high status, and he was incredibly proud of his Jewish heritage. He treasured it.
But here's where things get really personal. This wasn't just some abstract philosophical position for him. His own brother, Theodore, converts to Catholicism and actually becomes a priest. Now, you might think that would soften Alphonse's stance, right? Nope. It did the exact opposite. It lit a fire under him. It basically became his personal crusade to go out and expose what he truly believed was the falseness of the Christian faith.
Okay, so fast forward to 1842. Alphonse takes a trip, just a pleasure trip, nothing more. But this journey would lead him to a single moment that just defies any simple explanation. A moment that was about to change everything.
So just picture this. He's in Rome, a tourist doing touristy things. He wanders into this church, Sant'Andrea delle Frate, but not for any religious reason. He's literally just there to wait for a friend he's meeting. He finds a side chapel and kneels down, probably just to pass the time. This was not a pilgrimage, not some spiritual quest. It was just a guy killing a few minutes. But what happened in that moment? Well, it was anything but ordinary.
And we actually have his own words to describe what happened next. He talked about being completely surrounded by this dazzling light, seeing a luminous figure of the Virgin Mary right there on the altar, and being filled with what he called an immense love. You can just feel the intensity in his description. It was sudden, completely overwhelming, and deeply personal.
And here's the absolute kicker. How fast it all happened. This wasn't a slow burn, not him reading books and changing his mind over years. No, in a literal instant, according to his account, every ounce of his deep-seated skepticism, his animosity, his entire worldview, it just evaporated. He walked out of that church a fundamentally different person than the one who had walked in.
And a story this dramatic doesn't stay quiet for long. It wasn't just some private moment of inspiration. His transformation was so absolute, so public, that it actually caught the attention of the Vatican. They launched a full, official investigation into the whole thing. And get this, it was ultimately recognized as a legitimate conversion by Pope Gregory XVI himself. This was a very big deal.
Okay, so what do you even do after something like that happens to you? Where do you go from there? For Alphonse, simply changing his mind wasn't enough. Not even close. He had to change his entire life. He had found a new, all-consuming purpose.
And he didn't waste any time. He threw himself into his new faith head first. By 1848, just a few years later, boom, he's ordained as a Jesuit priest. He then reconciled with his brother, Theodore, the very man whose conversion had fueled his skepticism. And together, they founded a whole new religious order, the Congregations of Our Lady of Sion. Their shared mission? Dedicating their lives to work in the Holy Land.
So what was this mission all about? Well, while a core goal was absolutely about sharing their faith, their work was also incredibly practical, very boots on the ground. They focused on building schools for children and providing real, direct aid to the poor and the sick in the community.
And this mission wasn't just some abstract idea. Ratisbone literally translated his faith into stone and mortar. He left behind a physical, tangible legacy that you can actually go and see and touch today right in the heart of Jerusalem.
I mean, his mark on the city is just undeniable, and you can still trace his footsteps. He founded a major convent for the Sisters of Sion right on the Via Dolorosa, and what's so cool is that it incorporates the ancient Roman Ecce Homo arch right into its structure. His work didn't stop there. He founded another convent out in Ain Karim back in 1860. In fact, that's where his old home is now, a little museum, and it's where he was eventually laid to rest.
But you know, for him, it was always about more than just the buildings. These communities he started, like the one in Ain Karim, they were meant to be living, breathing examples of his vision.
And today, that legacy lives on, but it's also evolved. The convent is now known as a modern center for peace, for hospitality, and really importantly, for interreligious dialogue. It's a spirit of openness that feels like, well, a pretty fitting continuation for a man whose own life was defined by building such a profound and unexpected bridge between two very different worlds.
So, we'll leave you with this final thought. When you look at the story of Alphonse de Ratisbone, you have to ask yourself, what's the more enduring legacy? Is it the physical buildings, the convents and arches built of stone, or is it the incredible, powerful story of faith that brought them into being in the first place? It really makes you think about how one person's belief can truly shape our world long after they're gone.